Let us start with the chapter Sources of Energy. We all know what energy is. Energy is the capability to do work, and one form of energy can be converted into the other form of energy.
Ma'am, can you give me an example to show the conversion of energy from one form to another?
Of course, the food energy that is converted into muscular energy, and this muscular energy helps us to do work. But we must understand that the muscular energy, though it can get converted back to food energy, but it cannot provide us the food that was used to produce the food energy. Therefore, the forms of energy are interconvertible and they are conserved, but the sources of energy from which we get the energy, they are not conserved. Therefore, today we learn more about the sources of energy.
Ma'am, what is a good source of energy?
A good source of energy would be one which is economical, which is easily transportable, which is easily accessible to the population, and the most important point, that which should do maximum amount of work per unit volume. The sources of energy can be broadly classified into two terms. So, the classification of sources of energy can be given as renewable sources, as we see here, and non-renewable sources, as we see in the slide. The major sources of energy is seen in this pie chart which is given, which is coal, petroleum and natural gas, hydro energy, nuclear and wind energy. The pie chart also makes us realize the percentage of availability of all the sources of energy. We see here that coal is available maximum to us, and therefore we observe in present times our dependency on fossil fuels is very great. But over the years, due to maximum consumption of fuel energy, we have depleted our fossil fuels. As a result of which, in the present times, we now have to move to more non-conventional sources of energy. With this, we come up with another classification of sources of energy, which is conventional sources of energy and non-conventional sources of energy. The term thermal energy means that we harness thermal energy to convert it into mechanical energy or electrical energy. There are many sources of thermal energy like coal, oil, natural gas, and some of the sources are seen in this animation. Here we can produce heat by burning fuels. The heat which is produced warms the pressure cooker and it produces steam. The steam is used to move the shafts of the dynamo, as we can see over here. Therefore, we see that the thermal energy produced due to the steam is getting converted into the mechanical energy. When the shaft of the dynamo moves, we see that it produces electrical energy, due to which the bulb glows. So here, thermal energy is used to harness mechanical energy, heat energy and electrical energy. We have just seen the animation of a thermal power plant. Let us see how a thermal power plant looks in real life. It looks like this. And what you see over here, these huge furnaces actually have an arrangement like this, where we have the fossil fuel, pulverized coal in this case, which is burnt in a boiler at very high temperature to produce a lot of steam, and this steam is then further used to move the turbines. Due to the movement of the turbine, again as we had discussed, the generator will be moved, which will produce electricity. So, in a thermal power plant, heat energy is getting converted into electrical energy. Fuel energy, biomass, wind energy and water energy are some of the conventional sources of energy. Let us focus on water energy. Here we see a hydroelectric power plant. Here a water reservoir, which in this case is an ocean, is used to move the turbine which is constructed. The turbine, when it moves, converts the mechanical energy into the electrical energy with the help of a generator. The electrical energy produced with the help of generator is then supplied to the transformer, which sends it to the transmission lines to the various industries or cities for electrical purposes. Therefore, in a hydroelectric power plant, the water energy gets converted into mechanical energy and electrical energy. About a quarter of the requirement of electricity in our country is met by hydroelectric power plants.
Ma'am, why is there opposition to the construction of Tehri Dam on the river Ganga and Sardar Sarovar project on the river Narmada when hydroenergy is a viable option to produce electricity?
Right. Hydroelectricity does produce a lot of electricity. But when we construct dams, we see that these dams are a threat to the natural ecosystem of that place. Also, the pillars on which the dams are constructed, the ecosystem which lies below these pillars in the oceans, that ecosystem rots and dies because of the inefficient supply of oxygen. Therefore, we lose a lot of aquatic life underneath the oceans. There is also a problem of rehabilitation of displaced people, because to construct the dams, we have to rehabilitate the people living in the nearby coastal areas. Due to all these problems, even though hydroelectric power plants are a viable source of energy, still the people who are living around the coastal regions, and due to the threat of the ecosystem in the oceans, it is considered as a potential threat to nature. So in today's time, we need to use our conventional sources of energy in harmony with the nature. And one such example is a biogas plant. What do you mean by biomass?
Ma'am, biomass is a sources of fuel obtained from plants and animal products. For example, cow dung, cakes, wood, etc.
Right. And why do we prefer biomass over other fuels?
Because it has high heating capacity, it does not produce pollution, it is pollution free.
Very good. Also, biomass can be utilized to form other forms of energy which we can use for our daily life uses. Like we see in the fixed dome type biogas plant over here. A biogas plant consists of a curved wall essentially, which is seen over here, which is called the dome of the biogas plant. Firstly, we have an outlet in which we have an outlet deposit in which we keep the dung and water slurry. All the biomass can be kept over here. Because it is mixed with water, it forms slurry and it flows down to the underground digester tank. This underground digester tank is being fixed with a wall. Because of this, there is no oxygen supply in the digester tank. As a result of which, the anaerobic microorganisms, they convert this biomass into fuel. And the fuel that is converted is called biogas. The composition of biogas is methane, carbon dioxide, hydrogen and hydrogen sulfide. The biogas which is produced, then it is transferred from the outlet chamber to the pipes through which it is used as a fuel. One such use over here is seen in our gas stoves, which is a very common use that we get to see. We also use biogas to increase the temperature of a region or of a factory which is feasible for a certain chemical reaction. The other advantage of biogas is that the spent slurry, which is leftover slurry after it forms the biogas, is also very rich in manures, and this can also be used to be given in the fields for the germination of the seeds. Another huge advantage of biogas is that it has a very high calorific value. That means that a little amount of biogas can give you a lot of fuel energy and can do a lot of work. Therefore, a fixed term type biogas plant is a good conventional source of energy which is in harmony with the nature, as it is using the waste material of the animals to produce a useful biogas. Another arrangement to produce biogas is floating gas holder type biogas. in which you can see over here again a dung plus water slurry is used to produce the biogas. So we have learnt biogas as a conventional source of energy. Another conventional source of energy is wind. We all know moving air is called wind, and wind has a lot of kinetic energy in it. We all have also seen effects of wind, like we've seen boats sailing due to wind, we can pump water, etc., and many other uses of wind. We can really harness wind energy by planting a wind turbine. A wind turbine, you get to see arrangements like this, which actually in these shafts there are blades which are arranged. So when the winds move these shafts, the blades also move along with it. As a result of which, it also moves a shaft which is present inside the blades. When the blade moves, it makes the shaft move in such a way that the mechanical energy of the shaft is converted into electrical energy due to the movement of the generator. The electrical energy which is then created is supplied through the power cables, and it is connected to the transformer, again sent through transmission lines to various places where electricity is needed. Another good example of conventional source of energy which is in harmony with the nature, because it doesn't produce any smoke, it doesn't produce environmental hazard. Identify the box you see over here.
Oh, it is a solar cooker.
Yes, it is a solar cooker. Which type of energy is being used here?
Ma'am, solar energy, which is the solar radiation that reaches the earth, is used in solar cooker.
Very good.
Ma'am, can you tell me why is black surface preferred for making solar devices?
The black surface is preferred for making solar devices because black color is a good absorber of heat. Therefore, it absorbs the sunlight which can be used to heat the food that we need to cook. As you can see, we have two utensils kept in the solar cooker. Whatever food that we want to prepare is kept in these utensils, and with the help of these reflectors, you can direct the sun rays. The angle of these reflectors can be adjusted with the help of a screw over here. When the angles of the reflectors are adjusted, the heat of the sun reaches to the food and cooks the food. Now you tell me two gadgets which use solar energy for their working.
Ma'am, solar cells and water heaters.
We have learned about solar cell. Can you tell me what is a solar cell?
Ma'am, solar cells that convert solar energy into electricity.
Yes, and what are they made up of?
Silicon and silver.
Yes, solar cells are made up of special grade of silicon and silver which are used for the interconnection of the cells of the solar panel. So this completes the topic of solar energy. The core of the earth has a consistent temperature, irrespective of the changes occurring on the upper layers of the earth. This internal heat of the earth is known as geothermal energy, and this can be harnessed to generate electricity with the help of geothermal power plants, as seen over here. In a geothermal power plant, it is built up over the core of the earth, that is the surface of the earth. We try to get the dry steam from the core of the earth, and this dry steam is used to move the turbine, which in turn moves the generator, which produces electricity which is sent through the transmission lines for various other purposes. The dry steam that is passed over the turbine is directed through the condenser so that it gets converted into water droplets and reaches back to the core of the earth. So there is no loss of the underground water present in the earth. The appearance of a geothermal power plant would look like this from the outside. The heat energy that is produced in such a manner is also used, besides electrical purposes, it is also used majorly for home installation. Therefore, geothermal energy is a non-conventional form of energy. There were 9 sources of energy known, like sun, water, wind, biomass, geothermal, etc., until the discovery of atoms. Atoms have bundles of energy, which has many uses. Because each atom has a core nucleus. When the nucleus is bombarded with neutrons or some other high energetic particles, it may undergo nuclear fission or nuclear fusion. Here we see an example of nuclear fission. When neutrons are bombarded on an atom of uranium-235, it forms uranium-236, which further disintegrates to give barium, krypton and 3 particles of neutrons, along with a huge amount of energy. Similarly, in nuclear fusion, we see that an atom of deuterium and an atom of tritium fuses together to form an atom of helium, and a particle of neutron is given out, and again this process releases a huge amount of energy. Now, the energy released due to nuclear fission and nuclear fusion can be harnessed for various purposes, because the amount of energy is huge and this can be tapped for many uses. But the use of atomic energy is not so conventional, because we are still researching as how to put such a huge amount of energy to our maximum benefit. Nevertheless, the energy obtained by nuclear fission and nuclear fusion forms a great source of non-conventional energy. So far, we have discussed the non-conventional sources of energy, which are a biogas plant, wind energy, solar energy, geothermal energy, nuclear energy due to nuclear fusion and nuclear fission. Another source of non-conventional energy is our oceans. Through the ocean, we can harness tidal energy and wave energy. Tidal energy, in this, the power or the electricity can be generated from the waves. The tidal energy is harnessed by constructing dams across a narrow opening in the sea. In the similar way, the waves produced in the oceans are used to move the shafts of the turbines, like we have seen in the solar energy and the geothermal energy, and then these turbines are further used to move the generator to produce electrical energy, which can be used for our purpose. So these are the various sources of non-conventional energy.